Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Jesse, your DM.
Cody playing Lazarus.
Brennan playing this.
Mike playing him.
Britt playing Kenna.
And we are Double Doubles and Dragons. We're a group of goofy Canadians that have gotten together to play a little D&D. Sometimes we will say things that are inoffensive. We mean them as jokes, of course, and they're certainly funny to us, but some people may find this offensive. If you do, we apologize, but we don't want any hate mail about it. So just don't listen, okay? Let's jump right into the action.
All right, everybody, welcome back. So, let's jump into some of the preparation of what we need to do for today. So, we'll start with the easy stuff. We've got inspiration. I've got Nim and Lazarus don't have inspiration. Either of you guys have a reason you should be inspired this session?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm risking everything for complete strangers.
Well, you can't really argue with Lazarus. That seems perfectly fine to me. Nim, that just leaves you.
I mean, I think the way, because like, left to our own devices, Nim and Dis could have gotten up to like some pretty dumb shenanigans. And I feel like Nim's playing his intelligence stat a little bit and like actually like making some like solid.
You guys have been
Not
pretty
causing
restrained.
problems is worthy of inspiration.
And also, we're going for like one of the more dangerous paths that we know is pretty dangerous right now, but we're like, no, we need to like fix the brooch here even with the two of us before we can go in. Which
It's
is
true.
kind of against what would, the easiest thing for us to do would be like pop into the spoon realm immediately.
That's true.
Yeah.
That would be the easiest thing for you to do. Okay. You know what? I'll give it to Nim. He's got a point. But between being cautious and pushing forward even though you're down 2 players, I think between the two of those, we can definitely give you that. Okay, so that is the easy one. Experience, I've got 800 for each person. And then the important bit, the recap.
Cool.
So, as we've done a couple of times, although I think this may be the first time it's ever happened on the recording for people to listen to, I am of the opinion that things are important enough and nuanced enough at this point that by me recapping, I may accidentally draw attention to things you guys may have not paid enough attention to. So, I would like you guys
One of these again.
to do the recap today. Because it would be very easy for me to accidentally tell you things you may not know or may not have noticed at the time. So it's a little important for you guys to be under your own power today. So, who wants to start? I can give you the very beginning. Lazarus was still in the spoon realm. Kenna is somewhere else.
She's in a void.
And Nim and Dis are still in the town.
Actually, I'm in Dreamworld.
Is that what we're calling it?
That's what I'm calling it.
It's the place between the spoons and the reel.
Welcome to the cavern of the real. What, they're making a 4th Matrix movie. I think it's appropriate to quote it again.
Very much so.
I don't know.
Here I was going to say there is no spoon realm.
But yeah,
I know.
so, I mean, you guys have a lot of little details you're working with.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even necessarily have to recap
So-
the same way I would recap, but you need to recap each other at the very least.
So for Nim and Dis, in general, what we did was, after sending Kenna to the spoon realm, we waited till morning, and we ended up trying to go down the path of the mausoleum. We found going that way that there was water, there was tracks that were pretty muddy, or there was a lot of dirty water in between, and as we walked around, just got the feeling that the water feels like something is closing in on them. And then creatures did come out of the water, tried to drag Nim in. We ended up fighting them off at the time, but we don't really know the reason for that. It was just kind of, I think that was the last thing we did, was we kind of stopped them from attacking us and got away a little bit.
No, that's not the last thing you guys did.
Remember?
Then we went to the house
similar.
similar to the priest's house. There was lots of vines, and it seemed to be in better condition than the priest's house as well. We found a journal entry there. about them confronting somebody, and we found a body with a satchel with the note in it that was talking about the confrontation,
Mhm.
and there was 5 copper in there as well. I think our general impression of the whole thing is that maybe Lance was not actually in the wrong, and they were thinking he was doing something bad, using him as a sacrifice. That was our general impression. We were wondering then if the hut that we found before, there was writing on it that said something like, "They're coming for me." Just looking through my notes.
Nim has a few pieces of paper.
Yeah, because the one note said how wrong I was. I have seen things come from the depths of the void itself. But one thing is clear, we have to stop it. We need a sacrifice.
So then we were assuming that may have been Lance because we found in the roof of the left hut, when we found like almost the shacks that were there, that almost seemed like staging rooms for just equipment or something along those lines. Into the roof of the left hut, there was a carving that said, "They're coming for me. They say I have to save the town." And I believe we thought that was in Lance's writing. So,
And then we were upstairs in the mausoleum.
right.
Searching around. Actually, no, you were downstairs now.
Yeah, right, because we went upstairs at first because there was less vines going into a room up there or something like that, and we were like, why is that?
The stairway was
Yeah, the
covered.
stairway
Right.
was... The door was closed upstairs on the stairway.
I thought
on the
when
one
we
side.
saw it from outside, too, it looked like there was less vines going through that specific spot. But
Well, it was the only door that didn't have vines going through it.
I think that was, that was a fair thing. It made me think of, there wasn't any vines there, so...
But yeah,
we
then
went up there?
Then we went in the one room, we searched the coffin, which was a coffin,
Makes sense.
and it was covered in vines, but, and then we went to search the second room, and you went to kick it off the hinges and fell over the banister.
That's right. But I stuck the landing.
You stuck the landing because you rolled a nat 20.
Did a crazy flip. Told me the athletics roll was that.
Yeah, you now won the athletics, and then you nat 20 the dexterity saves.
Fail in style.
And you threw the copper coins away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, that's right. Because
I'm not
copper
saying
wasn't-
that's important. I'm just, because every time I say it, Kenna looks at me like she thinks it's important.
I believe, just to make the reason for throwing it away, or make it even worse, the reason I threw them away was because who the hell needs copper?
That's exactly
No, it was
what
Nim
she
that
said.
threw them.
It was, yeah, that's right.
Nim was like, copper? Yeah.
Meh. Okay, so that's you guys out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
What happened everywhere else?
Well, Lazarus is currently caught in the spoon realm for being absorbed into the priest's kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been on a bit of a standstill against some shadowy hands trying to come and feed upon the kids that I showed up with.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the important things that I've learned so far is that it targets the oldest one, but my divine protection can also dissuade it, as well as the holy water flask. So it doesn't like divine stuff. And Willie's there with me now.
That's interesting. Both of you recapped what you remembered happening and left out the very last thing that happened.
No, I remember. I'm going to touch on that.
Very well, Kenna. Go on.
So, I was led through a journey of what I assume is disemboweled Denise's life. Started with what you can assume would be like a father or grandpa that was dying in front of her. And her mother figure was had a mean look to her. And she was very distraught about it. Then it led me to the kitchen, where she had an injured hand and there was two warts on her hand. And the mom was yelling at her, basically telling her she was ugly and stuff like that from what I could hear. There was a lot of anger. And then the girl raised her hand and the mother slapped her across the face. Also, the look of disemboweled Denise is ever changing. It's not like solid. If that's who it is. I'm calling her that because that's what I think it might be. But to me, it looks like she's like a pretty girl. Then there's another vision where she's out in town and girls are bullying her and they're being very mean. And then it escalates and pushes her and she falls and scratches or injures her shoulder quite severely. And the warts have now moved. So it seems like whenever they're... Oh, and at one point they were on her arm too, and there was like remnants of a cut, but that had healed over. For some reason, I feel like those warts are important. Then there was, at this point, I think it was at this point that I started to hear like someone talking to me like in the background. And then it led us to, I have 4 pages of notes, so I'm trying to summarize this very, very shortly. She's walking down a path, and I'm walking by her, and there's a man with a cart in the distance, and I can see him and hear everything he says very clearly, which is weird because I haven't been able to at any other point, and it's almost like he knows that I'm there as well. And I watch her go to buy something from the cart, and she picks up a mirror. And then she says, that was the last thing I ever, like, looked at myself in again. Something like that. I looked at myself in it. You know, that's the last time I looked at myself in anything other than that mirror. And then there was another flash, and we were back into the kitchen, but the thing's different. Mother is shouting again. The girl is older and not really paying attention. She's just looking in the mirror to reflection. And then I started talking to her, and she said how things were better after that, and it didn't matter. And then, she was staring into the mirror all the time, and then I said something along the lines of, well, you finally realized you were beautiful? And she said, yeah. Then I asked her what happened next, and she said she got or she just said hungry. And also, what you guys forgot is hungry appeared on the back of the door.
That's right.
Right.
So, you wouldn't know that I had heard that, but hungry appeared on your guys' the back of the door, and it was, you guys did decide that that was not there previously.
Right, because I just did a history check on it when he
Right.
opened the door.
Right.
That was in the room.
That was in
The first room, the one with the behind the coffin?
I believe so.
Okay.
There was one. Wasn't there one other thing with when you saw, or when she was grabbing the mirror for the first time from the old man? He kind of angled the mirror in a way when she was looking at it to show you.
Yes, but I couldn't see myself.
What was it? Yeah, I thought that one was a bit of a weird situation.
There was a few
as
weird
well.
things. Everything else on the cart I couldn't really see. The only thing that I could pick up on was the mirror.
Right.
And her and I went to the mirror at like the same time.
It did seem like that old guy could like somehow know you were there.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did.
And the yogurt is also poison.
Yes. Yes. There was lots
What?
of poison talk.
You get a free yogurt.
Yeah, you get free yogurt if you bought it. I also tried to like see if there was magic on the mirror. Obviously, I can't tell what kind, but that was one of the reasons I was drawn to it. And I did try to ask the man as he was disappearing what was enchanted on the mirror. And he looked at me, but then it switched out. So.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, well then we will pick up. Who should we pick up with? Does anybody volunteer, or should I just roll?
The person that's least screwed. I don't know who that is, though.
I was gonna say, Kay, who's that?
I don't think any of us are least screwed.
Okay.
Is least screwed.
I'll flip for it. 1 is Lazarus, 2 is Nim and Dis, and 3 is Kenna, and 4 I'll just roll again.
Or you can just have 3 or 4. 'Cause there's 2
Yeah.
of them.
That gives them a higher chance to
This
go
is
next.
true.
There's 2 of them.
That doesn't seem fair to them.
That's right.
Well, looks like we start with Kenna.
Heck yeah, I was hoping for that.
Then why didn't you volunteer?
Because I don't want to, like, steal the... I think everyone wants to start, but I just...
Every
Gotta work at the
heroic
draw.
adventure begins with somebody for volunteering they had no business volunteering
I
for.
volunteered Nim to go first.
I volunteered Nim for tribute.
They love those short sacrifices.
Nobody... It wasn't overly long. Yes, it wasn't overly long. Okay, so we will start with Kenna. So, Kenna, what is the last thing you remember?
She said hungry. And then I think I was back into a void.
Okay, fair enough. So, you float for a time. You're unsure exactly how long, but you get the sensation of floating for a while. And then, as you find yourself blinking, as you know you do, each time you blink, you feel like the void around you changes color ever so slightly. It just seems to get a little brighter, then a little darker, then a little brighter again. And you start to become aware of some physical sensations. Things like something pressing against your bottom, like you're sitting down on something, and your feet are resting on something, and your arms kind of seem to be resting on something. And as these sensations slowly manifest, you find yourself almost waking up from a dream as your eyes kind of snap open a little bit. But not so lucky. You seem to still be in a dream of some kind. Everything still has that kind of blurry quality to it. But you're strapped to something. You appear to be tied down or in some other way immobilized. Maybe in a chair, just based on how you feel like you're sitting. But you can't really move your head very much. You're kind of just stuck sitting in this faintly gray room with a large window in front of you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you have so far. You appear to be immobilized in some way, and you're looking at a grayish wall with a large window in it. The window itself seems opaque. It's just the cloudy glass.
Okay. And everything still seems kind of blurry?
Just a little. You've still got that kind of hazy, I'm not quite all here feeling.
She's eating you guys. She's like the Sanderson sisters, and she's sucking my soul so that she lives in it. Okay. I'm gonna wiggle my toes.
Okay. You are able to wiggle your toes.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I move my wrists?
Slightly. It's restricted, but you do have a range of movement.
Okay. I try to look down and, look at my body.
You start to let your head kind of drop, and you realize something is restraining your head. You can't look down very far. If you kind of let your eyes cross and kind of, get them really down there, you still can't even see your own arms.
I wish I had familiar. Okay, I'm gonna blink a few times and see if anything changes.
Okay. You blink a few times, and nothing in the room really seems to change. But after you blink the fourth or fifth time, you do hear just off to your left, from a decent distance away, like maybe somebody is a little bit further away in the room, just kind of, I see you're awake, Kenna. I'm pleased you've finally come awake. I was beginning to worry.
Hello?
Nice.
Yes, hello.
Who are you?
Well, I would suspect you've put that together by now.
But I've never learned your name.
Well, that's all right, then. You can simply address me as best you can, then. Go on, dear. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Well, ma'am, how long was I out for?
I really don't have a good way of answering that.
Okay. Why am I strapped to this chair?
Just for your own protection, dear.
From what?
From some sad truths you're going to have to see today.
What do you mean?
Oh, you'll find out in good time, dear. In the meantime, can I interest you in some tea? I'm afraid it'll be difficult for you to drink as you are, but I'm happy to hold the saucer and cup for you.
That's very kind of you, but I think that I'm all right at the moment.
It is very kind.
It is.
But don't you worry. I'll just put it here on this table, and when you're ready for a drink, you can have some.
All right. I appreciate your kindness.
I'm sure you do.
I have a question for you.
I suspect you have many questions.
Well, I do. I do have many questions for you. But I'm curious. Do you still have your mirror?
I have many mirrors.
But you said to me before that that little mirror was the last thing you ever looked at yourself in.
That's right. That's the last time I ever looked at myself.
So you only look at other people in mirrors now?
No, of course not.
So then why do you have a lot of mirrors?
So that I have the option.
Fair. It's fair. You get it?
Now, if we're playing questions,
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Kenna.
No. Okay.
Don't worry, dear. It's not a hard question. You can hear her kind of slowly getting closer to you. I was just...
I want to try to look over, like, try to see her.
Okay. You are restrained. If you want, you can try to, like, strength check, see if you can, like, really kind of... It's up to you.
Just to my left?
Yes.
Okay. I would start with, like, trying to see how far I can see out of my, like, peripheral vision.
Okay. You can see, if you look like that, you can see about halfway down a wall in that direction, but wherever she's standing, it is frustratingly just out of reach. It's almost like you can, like, just see the blurriness of her body starting, like, if you strain your eyes in that direction.
Okay. I won't try to get out of the restraints as she's coming closer.
Okay. Where was I? Yes, a question.
This only seems fair.
Do you enjoy being an adventurer?
Why, yes, I do.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you find things often go the way you planned?
Absolutely not.
Why is that?
Well, I don't think that there's anything in life that you can totally be 100% sure will happen a certain way.
I agree. But it would seem that sometimes, especially since you got here, that things don't go according to plan. I want to know why. Why can you not do this?
Do what?
Whatever you want to do.
Who says I'm not doing whatever I want to do?
You're strapped to a chair, dear.
Well, that's right. I am.
I don't say it to make fun or out of meanness of my heart.
I wouldn't think you would.
But you have to agree, this isn't exactly the best situation.
It doesn't appear like it is. No, it doesn't. I can't say that I like being strapped down.
So I'll ask the question again. Why do your plans go awry?
I think I stick with my original answer because you just don't know what's going to happen.
I see. I don't blame you, Kenna. I was once like you, believing that every problem I had must have been something I'd done wrong. But I think I can show you that that's not the case.
Just gonna show me and name book me.
I think, and you get a kind of tingly sensation across the chair, and that window in front of you begins to un-opaque and kind of become a little bit more translucent. I think I can show you a great deal of the reasons why things don't work out the way you think they would.
I would be intrigued to see.
Very well. Shall we take a look at our first little example?
Absolutely.
So,
what is happening?
the window goes clear, and you see a window into what looks like the market area. You can see in this area, almost through the fog effortlessly. You can see much more of it than you would normally be able to had you been standing there. And in the middle of that area, right next to the well, is a familiar dome, of which you know belongs to Nim, or at least looks like it.
Yeah.
As you watch, the dome disappears as the light level rises, and you watch Nim and Dis walk out of the dome as it falls away, and Dis stretches, and Nim does a little stretch as well. And then you hear, "Oh boy, I'm sure glad we got rid of Kenna, ha!" Dis looks over, "Yeah, now we can do all the things we always wanted to do."
Man, she's a bitch.
She kind of, you notice the next time she speaks, she's a little closer. "I don't think they respect you very much, Kenna. It seems they view you as some sort of spoil sport."
Okay. Kenna would very much clue into what she's doing, but she would have to play into it. She has to. Yep. Well, that's not fair.
No,
All I'm trying to do is help them and make sure that they're safe.
of course. I mean, it's not like you're trying to ruin their fun, is it?
No, everyone loves to have fun, but sometimes when you're adventuring, you need to focus on what's going on at hand and not in getting into some shenanigans.
Perhaps they do not value your intellect. Or perhaps they fear your beauty. Pretty people can be so talked down to, Kenna. Isn't that a shame?
It is a shame, and it is something I have experienced quite a lot in my life.
I thought you might say that. Now, why don't we look at something else?
All right.
The window clouds over again, and after a small amount of time it begins to lessen, and for the first time in at least a day or two, you see Lazarus appear.
Lassie!
He's in some sort of dark room. You can see a few children around him. And, of course, Lily.
Lily.
As you watch, Lazarus appears to be sitting in the middle of the floor, kind of focusing, perhaps praying, it's hard to tell. But he's just sitting there in silence. Willie wanders by. "Yeah, so, figure we'd probably be getting out of here soon, huh?" Lazarus just opens his big eyes and says, "No, the children are more important than one girl." Kenna, just at the side of your ear. "Look at that. So little regard. These children he's just met appear to be more important to him than his own party member."
There, Lazarus, like he would take on more lives. If more lives could be saved, I could understand.
"I see. So you value yourself so little that those children mean more than your life as well."
No, I'm not saying that. Seems like what something Lazarus would do.
Betray you, then?
Lazarus gets stuck between what's right and wrong.
I suspect most people do.
Well, he gets especially stuck.
Oh, I should say so. He's quite stuck now.
Where is he?
Oh, just in a little place.
Far away?
Perhaps.
Where are we right now?
It's not really aware.
Okay.
But I see. You respect Lazarus's choice.
No, I would hope that he would save my life, but, I mean, once he's made up his mind, he's made up his mind.
I see. Well, I suppose we'll have to see which one of you he values more then, shan't we?
What have you done?
I'm not trying to do anything!
Would you like to watch Lazarus have to choose who dies?
Sounds good.
Sorry, thinking.
If it would be easier for you, I can make the glass go away, and then you don't have to watch.
I think she's changing things. I don't know if she'll actually make Lazarus kill anyone, but I don't want to give her the option.
If you would rather, we could test Nim and Dis's commitment to rescuing you instead. I bet if we give them just enough, they'll walk away without you.
What did you say?
Load of confidence. Rum
For the people at home, Dis did the maybe just a little bit.
I don't know how to play this. I think it would hurt too much to see any of them in case they didn't choose me.
Ah, then we agree. I have to show you the truth, Kenna. It has to be one of them.
But why?
Which do you think is more likely to not betray you? I can give you the best chance of success. Just pick the one you trust the most.
Do I have to choose right now?
Yes. It has to be soon. I'm getting hungry.
Okay. Children's lives. Him and Dis's life. Lazarus's life. Kenna wouldn't want kids to die.
Welcome to triage.
Kenna wouldn't want anyone to die.
I mean, Nim's only 16. He's technically a kid.
We're all technically kids.
This is too young to drink in the United States. He's a child.
Let it never be said that Nim has no shame. Well, you know, I'm technically a kid.
I'm also 16. So and you're 16? 17? You're 18. You're the oldest.
Whoa.
You better not come in here. You're
This is
in
gonna
trouble.
die.
See, like, out of character quickly. What's going through my head? Just quickly. I'm not going to
Sure,
ask
go
for
ahead.
opinions.
Take all the time you need. They just can't help you.
No, but what's going through my head is there's two of them that could potentially fight something, and there's two of them, which is better odds. But then, at the same time, what if she puts them against each other and they just have to kill, or I guess they're walking away from me, is really what's happening. But then what's going to happen to them and what would get them to walk away? But then, having Lazarus have to choose who's going to die next worries me because Lazarus, being who Lazarus is, would likely choose himself over the kids, or Willie will sacrifice himself. There's no nice option in this, everybody.
But the dice decide.
And I think, like, Kenna and Nim have been together the longest of anyone. That would definitely be, like, playing in her mind. Hardcore. But whenever she's almost died, the person that has saved her has always been Lazarus. Sorry, Dis. It's always been Lazarus. So, like, who she trusts, all of you. I don't want to freaking... Okay, it's not Brittany playing, it's Kenna. What would Kenna do? Okay. Sorry, Lazarus. I trust Lazarus the most.
Very well. Would you like to watch? Or are you afraid to see the results?
I want to watch.
Very well, Kenna. I hope it goes better for you than it did for me.
What do you mean?
Just watch. Okay, Lazarus. I'm afraid it's your time now.
Yes.
Okay, so, Lazarus, you've been spending what you would guesstimate as the last hour or so, just kind of, we've talked about this before, you and Willie are just kind of trying to make the best of your situation, keep the kids calm, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Do I have any opportunity to, speak to Willie after, where I got stopped in the last events?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think we just cut off, whereas I backed down the shadow hands again.
Yes, absolutely. If you have more questions you've thought of to ask or anything like that, feel free.
Yeah, so, the main thing about that me and Willie haven't talked is, I guess, what they talked about with Willie before he got sent in here.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't know what they've discussed between themselves here.
Right.
So I'm gonna... Master Willie,
Yeah.
what was the whole circumstances that got you sent in here?
Oh, yeah, I remember. So, if you recall, well, actually, you wouldn't recall. So, I was sitting at home, just minding my own business, when your group came back,
Minus Lazarus.
minus the big lizard, and, some stuff happened. I won't bore you with the details, but needless to say, they were attacked. I wasn't God. They had some problems. The little one, he screamed something about a mind spike. And then suddenly there was just fire.
How was your inn?
Well, that's the funny thing. There's the funny thing about inns. Sort of made of wood. Didn't go so well after that. Though I think they killed the things that were chasing them. But sadly, lost the inn. Well, at least the front door, anyway.
Alright, so you lost your refuge.
I did.
And then what then?
So then they took me out, and the little one said some words, and then there was a little dome they were gonna hide in.
Yes.
And then they were worried about you, and they talked to you on one of them just kept shoving his hand in his bag. Seemed to work. Not much of a magic man myself. And then, they figured they'd try and see if they could send you your weapon. So that's why they sent Willie. But, didn't really work. And I was getting, pulled in, kind of arrested me, got all squiggly, and the weapon didn't. So,
Yes.
couldn't really hold on to it.
Do you have any ideas or any motives of their plans after sending you in here before you came inside?
I think they mentioned they were going to send the girl in.
The girl?
think.
So Kenna?
I believe so.
So Kenna maybe within here as well.
That's what I remember.
Kenna?
I'm afraid there's no response.
Alright, well she may or may not be here then.
I can't imagine they would have waited all that long after May.
So perhaps here, but elsewhere?
Perhaps. I mean, Willie ended up here.
You did, but that's small test.
You don't suppose she ate it, did you?
Really? Please.
I'm just checking.
Lazarus would have no way of knowing to answer your question.
This ain't no magic to be like, is my friend dead?
Perhaps Lazarus could ask such a thing, but no, there's no specific "are they dead" magic.
You hear all these stories about magic.
Indeed, magic takes many forms, but it depends on your purpose.
Well, that's about all I remember anyway. About what the plan was.
You attempted to bring Lazarus's weapon.
Are they just big golden rod thingy?
Right. And then that did not work, and so now they're going to send Kenna.
That's what I believe was supposed to happen, yeah.
Was there anything different about what they were doing to send Kenna?
I'm not sure. I was already here by then. Or at least on my way here.
Alright, very well. At least he knows perhaps there may be value in trying to leave this room now.
Say like?
Well, Kenna is elsewhere and has other reason now.
I tend to agree.
Alright. So that's that.
Is that it?
I think that's
okay.
the main thing.
So, after a little while, you've been kind of hearing this rumbling sound from outside the door for a little while now. And not long after it professed its hunger to you.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since then, there's been kind of this passive rumbling that's been going on. So, after a little while, you hear the handle. It pops open just a hair, like it usually does.
Mm-hmm.
But no shadow hand descends. The door just remains ominously cracked.
Nice. Look. If I could do like a handstand and do that, I would. Alright, I guess just pass a look between me and Willie.
Sort of just kind of looks at you and goes, ain't nothing good up there.
No, there isn't. But why is it waiting this time?
You think maybe it wants to talk?
That would be nice, a change of pace.
Well, not to seem like a chicken or anything, but you're the one wearing the armor. Why don't you go yell at it?
Always inspiring, Master Willie. Very well. And I'll kind of like cross the room over to it a bit.
Okay.
Stop 5 feet away from now.
5 feet away from the wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll tap once on the door first.
Okay. So you kind of reach up, give it a tap. Just kind of a little...
Yeah.
No response.
Kenna, or Denise, or anyone else here, Lazarus. Just like yell at the door.
Okay. You can hear your voice echo on the other side of the door for quite a while, actually. Like, it reverberates like 9 or 10 times. And then on that last echo as it dies away, there's just a soft, give me one.
Give you one of what?
Give me one.
1 carrot, an apple.
Then I will take. You notice about 7 arms start sliding either down the door frame towards the wall or sideways.
Oh, you want one, do you? Well then, your choices are either Lazarus or nothing.
I see. You would be.
And like,
Food.
as like, I'm kind of like playing into it, kind of pulling into the whole body class.
Okay, just kind of like, no, yeah, you should totally take me. Okay. The hands begin reaching down, and the ones that went out kind of sideways, those couple, are starting to kind of go down as well, giving about 7 of them slipping down towards you, which is technically enough to take everybody left, if each hand grabbed one person.
Each hand grabbed one. I still got some resources left to try different things, but I don't know. Like, the door's open.
Yes. You would prefer I take you?
Lazarus would prefer he be able to stop Benny from being taken.
To be eaten?
Or anything.
You would not resist.
Oh, Lazarus is going to resist somewhat.
I see. And if resistance would lose a child?
You would threaten, then, to take a child?
I take children. There is no threat.
So now she's being vocal about it. And she's giving her as a reason. How long do I think I have for like those hands travel time?
They tend to, they definitely enjoy the slow terror, so, I mean, you feel like you've maybe got, like, 30 seconds, something like that.
Master Willie, it appears we're at an impasse.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So either now it is Lazarus goes, or someone else goes.
Oh. Without trying to sound like too much of a martyr, you're the only one that can protect the children. Perhaps it should take Willie.
But if Lazarus continues to spend his resources protecting the children, he will also be tapped by the time he is taken. Is it not worthwhile to perhaps attempt now while he is strong?
That's a fair point. If you figure you can fight whatever's on the other side of that door.
Oh, if Lazarus thought that, he would have tried by now.
That seems like you're not sure.
He is not.
No, I've been out here a while. I haven't found anybody. Maybe you should just let Willie be the last one taken.
For you to mention this after all we had mentioned of being able to take you out of here. That does settle uneasily on Lazarus.
No, I reckon it does. I don't like it much better than you getting taken now and not being able to help your friends, or, even worse, one of these poor children.
Well, between the two of us, we're in agreement that the children will not be taken.
No.
Very well then, Master Willie. It seems it's going to be between us to decide.
What do you have in mind?
Lazarus gonna attempt to stop one more time. And I'm gonna step forward for the door, and I'm just gonna actually take an action and see what happens.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk up to the door, I'm gonna peek up to the crack, and I'm gonna cast Daylight Passive again.
Okay. So, you kind of get up towards the door, you get yourself up there, obviously trying to avoid the hands, I would imagine. And yeah, you just, into that empty space, you cast Daylight. The door slams shut almost immediately after you do that. However, in that moment before the door slams shut, you see 2 things through your Daylight spell, which is a little hard on your eyes, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know you need to look. You're kind of willing to take the blindness a little to get an idea of what's going on. So, you cast the blindness out, and there is a loud screeching sound.
Yeah.
And as the door begins to slam shut, you watch daylight spread out and show you essentially, at first you think it looks like just a really long hallway, but the more you watch it in that split second before the door closes, the more you realize the walls of that hallway are sort of undulating up and down and side to side a little bit. They have kind of a a wiggle and a wave to them.
Lovely. Okay.
And then the door slams shut.
Well, let's see what. And then I actually very much go back to the kids, and I kind of group the kids up and get them in a small package, and I kind of loom over them.
How long does daylight last? I assume you're going to hold concentration.
Yeah. 1 hour.
Okay, 1 hour.
Do you want the card? Just in case?
Yeah, definitely.
That's super reassuring.
I definitely want the card. Okay. Kenna, from your perspective, you have watched almost that entire exchange.
Mm-hmm.
However, the version you're being presented is different than what Lazarus just experienced. Not by a lot at first. All of what he said leading up to those last couple of minutes is the same.
Mm-hmm.
But in the version you're watching, in the exact same time frame where Lazarus and Willie decided that nobody was going today,
Mm-hmm.
Lazarus agrees with Willie in your version and proceeds to essentially let him walk into the hands and be taken.
Willie?
Yeah. As Willie is taken, the door slams shut. Not that you would necessarily know, but in more or less a coincidement with Lazarus's actual attempt on the door.
Mm-hmm.
And in the room that you're in, you hear the woman grunt a little, just kind of a quick, well, that was delightful.
Oh.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, apparently you're worth more than one old man.
I don't know how that makes me feel.
Well, don't worry. You'll have some time to sit and think about things. I'm going to have to step away for a moment while I deal with some more pressing matters. But I think for the time being, I'll just leave this open for you, and you can watch your friends as you like.
All right, thanks.
We'll talk soon, Kenna.
Thanks, Denise.
There's no reply, and there's that feeling that nobody's in the room with you anymore.
Okay. All right. From my point, so it's open so I can see both Lazarus's room and this in
It's
there?
still showing the aftermath of Lazarus's room. In the room that you see Lazarus in, Willie has just been taken, and the children are kind of not yelling at him, but you can see there's some sort of discussion happening between the two of them. You don't have audio anymore, but you
Okay.
can see the kids kind of talking with him, and he seems to be saying something back. As that continues for a few moments, you notice the glass begin to shift its tint again. And as it kind of clouds and then releases again, you see Dis standing at the bottom of some sort of large staircase. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. He's surrounded by vines almost entirely. They're all over the floor. There's a staircase kind of off behind him. And just judging by the look on his face, if you had to guess, he just stuck a landing. Because he's got that, yeah, I just pulled that off face. But we'll have to see what you see after the break.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Wow, what a cliffhanger. I wonder what's going to happen next time. Seriously, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening in. If you liked what you heard, share us with your friends. If you hated what you heard, share us with your enemies. Seriously, though, like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll find out what happens to Double Doubles and Dragons next time.